Hello and welcome. You are listening to episode 63 of the Nearly Men Video Games Podcast, coming to you live on Twitch from Scotland on Thursday, 14th of May 2020. I'm Colin Little, and joining me today is Gary Hogg-Simmons.
Hello.
And Paul Kaczynski.
Hi.
We have nothing to do with the video games industry. We don't make them, we don't sell them, we're not even particularly good at them. We are the Nearly Men, and at some point you have probably kicked our asses online. Hello! Here we are again. Live on Twitch. How we doing, boys?
Yeah, not bad, apart from my dogs are currently freaking out because there's fireworks and bagpipes going.
Oh,
that's
man.
what the NHS needs.
That's good.
Bagpipes.
Did nobody tell all these people that the Nearly Men are live?
I know.
This is unbelievable. Unbelievable. How are you doing, Mr. Kaczynski? You all right?
I'm well, sir. Thank you. I'm well, yes. Can't believe it's podcast day already. I feel that we've just done this.
Do you know, it is creeping up, isn't it? I mean, how many weeks of lockdown is this? This must be, 9 or 10 now? It's flying. Absolutely flying. And we're...
Gosh.
I think it's near enough that. And more importantly, we've not missed an episode. I can't remember the last time we missed an episode. So,
that was the only reason lockdown's happening, is just so we can get some sort of regularity.
That's it. The countries of the world got together and said, the Nearly Men need to get a handle on this. They need to get a handle on this. We'll just have to stop everything until they can get their stuff together. No, let's not make light of that. It's a terrible thing, but it's good. It's good to be here, and yet, although it's been a while since we've all been in the same room as one another, it's nice to be able to have a bit of a chat.
It's always nice to see you and Gary Hogg-Simmons
Talk, indeed, and talk some video games. Before we get on with that, we better have a little shout out to our producers. As you know, if you subscribe to the Nearly Men on Twitch, you automatically become an executive producer of the podcast.
Mr. Producer.
You can either do that with your shiny coins, or you can even use your Twitch Prime subscription. That's a free subscription that anyone that's got Amazon Prime or Twitch Prime have. You can link your Amazon Prime to your Twitch account, and you get one free subscription. You can renew that every month and support a streamer of your choice. So if your Twitch Prime subscription is gathering dust, why not just throw it the Nearly Men's way? You become an executive podcast producer, and you will earn our eternal gratitude.
Indeed.
This podcast is produced by, here they come, our assorted Mr. and Mrs. producers. Colin NM, Paul Kaczynski,
what a handsome guy.
Josser 1978, Diet Punk, Nat Pacino, Gavin a Laugh, Blunderboy 87, Brother Jacob, and Bry 2208. I'd just like to say a collective, Mr. Producer. So our podcast producers list is growing and growing. Thank you so much, everybody, for the support. There are lots of ways you can support us. We're on all sorts of social media, and if you're not following us on our various social medias, then please do. And to find out how to do that, well, we've got that for you right here.
Reaching the Nearly Men is easier than ever. Search for the Nearly Men Video Games Podcast on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or your preferred podcast player. We stream on Twitch. Follow Colin at Colin_NM. Follow Paul at Paul Kaczynski, all one word. Follow Gary at Blunderboy87. And let's get social on Facebook as The Nearly Men, Twitter and Instagram where we are at Nearly Men, or go old school and email us on info@thenearlymen.com. Need all that again? Links are on our website, thenearlymen.com. So what are you waiting for?
Well, I tell you, we have no time to be waiting around. This is an absolutely jam-packed episode. We've got loads of stuff coming for you, tons of news, and of course we have super special, super awesome guest, Amy Conway. I've got an interview with her in a little while. But beforehand, let's go on with the rest of the news.
News.
That was lovely.
I mean, we can look all flashy like this and face things, but with the sound budget, the sound budget's taking a bit of a kicking. Okay, here we go. So, first up, Microsoft admits that we set some wrong expectations with Xbox Series X gameplay reveal.
Whoopsie daisy.
This comes from Eurogamer, and the article's by Wesley Yin Poole. Microsoft has responded to criticism of this week's Xbox Series X gameplay reveal, admitting it had set some wrong expectations for fans. The company had teased Xbox Series X gameplay for the special Inside Xbox show, but gameplay was in short supply as Microsoft issued a raft of trailers from third-party publishers and developers. Microsoft's Inside Xbox video has 33,000 dislikes at the time of publishing on YouTube, and the comments are packed with complaints, with many saying that they felt misled. Other Xbox Series X gameplay reveals on Microsoft's Xbox YouTube channel have had a similar reaction. Responding to a tweet from a fan, General Manager of Xbox Games Marketing at Microsoft, Aaron Greenberg, held his hands up. This is a quote, "Had we not said anything and just shown May's Inside Xbox show like we did last month, I suspect reactions might have been different. Clearly we set some wrong expectations. And that's on us. We appreciate all the feedback and can assure you that we'll take it all in as we learn as a team." Perhaps the biggest culprit was the much-hyped gameplay reveal of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which itself was teased by publisher Ubisoft by a trailer that went live after an elaborate Twitch stream that unfolded over the course of a day. This gameplay reveal turned out to contain no gameplay at all. Rather, flashy in-game cinematic camera work. The reaction to this video has been similarly negative, you don't say, with thousands of dislikes and angry comments from across various channels it was uploaded to. Ashraf Ismail, creative director of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, took to Twitter to respond to fans and said, "You rightly expected to see more today. We have a long marketing campaign ahead of us. You will see in-depth gameplay and get to see a lot more about the game. Thank you all for your excitement and passion. Be patient with us and be kind. It will be worth it." So, first of all, Paolo, you and I did a live reaction video on the Twitch channel when this happened. We were both excited about this.
Yep.
And, well, Paolo, what was your initial response?
Well, I have to laugh at Aaron Greenberg's quote here, where for the gameplay review, which no doubt Xbox Games Marketing titled, it says clearly we set some wrong expectations. I mean, gameplay review, and I think there's maybe 2 games that have got slight bits of gameplay in it. You've got that kind of shooter one that's kind of going in the VT at the moment, and I think the kind of Japanese anime one in Paris had gameplay as well, kind of manga one. But other than that, I think it was all like what we're seeing at the moment, kind of cinematic-y, kind of.
I'm not really convinced there was any real gameplay. It was all in engine stuff.
Well, the kind of first-person shooter. Remember the one with the Back to the Future car and all that? That looks like gameplay, but it
does look like gameplay. But I think that was representative of gameplay. I don't think that really was gameplay. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, because I remember saying at the time that doesn't quite look like gameplay.
To answer your question, it was disappointing to say the least, because we were all ramped up for this gameplay review, and we threw together the review reaction video in about half an hour, just so we could be there doing it. And I thought it was going to have that flavour of like E3 again, where they drop something big and it's like, oh wow, but no, it wasn't.
No, it really, really wasn't. I was excited. The idea of seeing next-gen gameplay was exciting. I couldn't wait to see, and I was thoroughly underwhelmed.
Yeah.
It was even a bit of a tease. They're like, "Oh, we've got all this stuff coming. We're going to show you, we're going to show you Halo Infinite. That'll all come next month, but just wait to see what we've got." And I really felt for the various hype men that they had that had to do like interviews with Codemasters and all that about yet another racing game that we never saw before. And then the guy that had to, at the end, right? They're like they kept saying about this Valhalla thing. They're Valhalla, and I said to Paul on Number 10 Straight, surely we're actually going to see. Ubisoft said, Xbox have said, surely we're going to see some gameplay here. And then I think there was a 2 seconds is being optimistic, but there was there's a little moment of a fight where I thought that might be gameplay, and that was it.
I had to laugh at they essentially showed a trailer, which had that snippet of gameplay in it, and it finished. And then it went to like the kind of talking heads again. And I remember you saying, "Oh, thank God! I thought that was it." And then it wasn't.
and then he starts talking. The poor boy that had to try and talk it up was like, "Oh, it's amazing gameplay! Oh, wow!" and then they referenced it, and much like we're doing, you saw some footage while he was talking, and I was like, "Right, that's the bit that they're calling gameplay."
Oh man,
it was horrific. Gary, did you catch any of this?
No, because I learned a long time ago not to watch Microsoft things because you always leave disappointed. So it's like, I don't think there's ever been a Microsoft thing in the past couple of years that I've been like, oh yes, I definitely want that. And just your guys' reaction. I remember when it finished in the group chat, you were like, what?
Oh man.
Honestly, it was absolutely ludicrous. I could not believe, and I know that I am, if anything, I am the chief Sony fanboy here on the podcast. That's fair enough. And I do somewhat play up to my slagging of Xbox. I don't, I have my moments. I certainly would much rather play on PlayStation than Xbox if I had a choice. But
yeah,
I really like Gears of War. I enjoy Halo. There are, clearly there are good consoles, but Xbox just seemed to constantly, and after making such a mess of the Xbox One reveal and getting the Xbox Series X stuff out a bit ahead of time when they first showed you the box and all that, and I don't think it looks particularly nice, but that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. And then here they come. They've just shot themselves in the foot again. It's like 2013 never happened. I just cannot fathom it. And it's funny, and I do see it being mentioned by Bright in the chat. Epic today showed off an Unreal 5 engine test, a tech demo of the Unreal 5 engine running on PS5, and that is gameplay. That is gameplay, and it's running brilliantly on a PlayStation 5, and I was absolutely blown away looking at it. And I know this isn't a game that'll ever exist, but actually the technology on display, and it's bonkers that on Epic's thing where they were showing their engine, they did more for Sony than Xbox did for their own selves in their own thing. And it's as though Sony haven't even done anything yet, and already they're a point ahead. They were probably 3 or 4 points ahead, and we haven't even seen anything really from Sony.
Well, do you know, I'm going to jump in and defend Microsoft a wee just for the devil's advocate. I think this gameplay review is the kind of first foot wrong that Microsoft have done. Because I think up until now they've played a real blinder, and they've got ahead of the game.
They've not done much.
No, but they've got ahead of the game, and every step of the way they've been releasing stuff in front of Sony, and it's almost as if Sony are a bit kind of backing off, going, well, let's see what Microsoft are doing before we reveal our hand, which is good and bad in a way. But the whole thing with the smart delivery thing, and with the fact that you don't need a new Xbox to play new Xbox games and all this kind of thing, it has been really good, and it's almost brought Microsoft back to what Microsoft used to be, where it was, with the Xbox One, they really put a foot in it and all that, and they were still going down the same line as if they took it too far. It was the equivalent of Radiohead releasing Kid A after OK Computer. If you're a Radiohead fan, it was really experimental, really different, but it just went too far. Where it was an entertainment box, it wasn't just a gaming console, and Microsoft have always been a bit like that, and this is them kind of going back to it in a clever way, where it's a games machine, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to do games, but if you don't want an Xbox, you don't need one. You can play it on xCloud, or you can play it on the Xbox One you have just now. It's just not going to look as good. And if you want the best, you need to get the new thing. But if you want to play, then you can still do this. And all that was brilliant. But this is a real kind of whoopsie-daisy moment. Really, so much so.
Well, fortunately, I don't think there's any more whoopsie-daisy moments related to the Xbox Series X or Assassin's Creed. Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh dear. Oh dear. Paulo just said he didn't think they'd done much wrong. Well, let's have a little look here, shall we? Assassin's Creed Valhalla in 30 frames per second controversy. This comes from IGN, and it's written by Jason Ollerman. Ubisoft has revealed that Assassin's Creed Valhalla will run at a minimum of 30 frames per second when it launches on Xbox Series X. Ubisoft issued a statement to IGN revealing that the forthcoming release will target 30 frames per second as a minimum frame rate. There's a quote saying, Assassin's Creed Valhalla will run at a minimum of 30 frames FPS on Assassin's Creed Valhalla. We are committed to offer the best experience to our players by immersing them in the most beautiful worlds and environments we could create, and leveraging not only graphics enhancements offered by the next generation of consoles, but also faster loading times and the new architectures. Of course, this may change as the game is finalised ahead of the launch. That was the end of the quote, sorry. This comes from the article. Of course, this may change as the game is finalised ahead of launch later in the year, but for now, you can expect 30 frames per second when you boot up the game in 4K on launch day. Microsoft had previously made clear that its performance target for the console is 4K at 60 frames per second up to 120 frames per second. It's not been a good week for Xbox, it really hasn't. Especially given when the reveal came and the trailer came from for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, it had the big Xbox logo at the start, and that usually tells you, oh, Xbox is the place to play this game. This is generally what it'll get the first sort of times exclusives if history kind of goes the way we expect it to. And for what is essentially a benchmark title, a big title for them. First of all, the gameplay reveal being an absolute, steaming pile of non-event. Exactly, that's slightly more diplomatic. And now the fact that we're actually going to be, 60 frames has become a bit of the norm on a lot of games on this generation. I know it's not a hard and fast rule, unfortunately. On certain games, but the fact that you're actually going back, and the fact that they've had the gall to talk of up to 120 frames, and now they're looking at a quarter of this on launch day, it's not been a good week.
There's a few people who are big fans of Assassin's Creed 2 I was speaking to about this, and they're kind of like, what's the point in a next-gen console if you can't do next-gen things? And they're like, why should I bother putting money in for these big games if you're not even delivering what you say?
Well, my issue is, the issue is it's not even doing next-gen things. This isn't even doing current-gen things. That's the real problem on this instant at the moment. That's the thing. It'd be different if they said, it'll be at 60 frames. You've got to wonder what the hell the machine's going to be doing if it can't. It just seems really strange.
This something to bear in mind here, though, and I'm just scanning the article just in case there's something that goes against this. This might not be Xbox's fault. This might be Ubisoft's fault.
Oh no, you're absolutely right. It might well be. It might well be an issue on both consoles. We don't know. What we do know is that this is two stories. Xbox based their inside Xbox around this game. Ubisoft have done it, and already we're looking at the problem that this isn't going to. This is already not looking great. This game.
What's odd is that Ubisoft have come out and made this statement that it's going to be 30 on Xbox, and it doesn't mention PlayStation in any way. And that's not to say that it won't be 30 on PlayStation, but it's odd that they've highlighted Xbox. So that leads to two things for me. It's either because Xbox has got the problem, so Ubisoft or Xbox are struggling with getting it to work right, one or the other, or both, or it suggests that there's some sort of exclusivity with it, which it's not, because we know it's coming out in PS5, but it's just odd. I know it's got the lead brand on the Xbox and all that, but to be so particular with it seems odd to me.
I guess that this was probably an extended part of the Inside Xbox press thing.
Okay.
The chances are they were explicitly talking about Xbox and were probably briefed, or part of the deal was that they weren't going to discuss other platforms. Probably it was probably something like that.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But it does seem a wee bit weird that they didn't say. They didn't say a more general thing where they just said at launch, because then they could have not mentioned PS5, but also it wouldn't have looked quite as bad on Xbox as it does at the moment.
Yeah.
So therefore, it does make you kind of assume that possibly the problem, although it probably is an Ubisoft issue, but the issue might not be with both consoles. It might be a rather specific issue.
The thing that gets me though is if it is this Xbox branding of Assassin's Creed, then surely if this press was going out, Xbox would be going, don't say it's us, just say it's going to run at 30 frames per second. Do you know what I mean? Don't need to mention this.
That's my point exactly. So it does make me think that this is more of an issue, some sort of issue with the Xbox as opposed to just an issue with the game at the moment. I mean, we are speculating here. We're only reading in from the article, but it is funny. It could have easily just not mentioned. It could have said it'll be running at 30 frames on 4K on launch day, rather than specifically talking about Xbox.
Yeah.
Could it be linked to this whole, you don't need the current console, you can play any version of and anything you want? Because that's an Xbox statement, like Paul was saying. Is that a kind of double-edged sword where they're saying, you don't need the Xbox One X 3.4, or you can play it on your tablet, or you can play it on your TV, but don't expect 60 frames per second? Do you think there's an argument that Xbox's new policy
smart delivery system might be
smart delivering is actually hindering them?
I mean, I don't know the specifics of smart delivery, but I mean, it will still have to be two different types of game. It will be two games. It's not the same game running on two consoles. If you know what I mean. I'm sure there'll still be an Xbox One version and an Xbox Series X version.
But then is there going to be a tablet version and that's? I'm just trying to think. Maybe they'll try to cover their back. So if someone does say play it on their tablet, they're not going, "Oh, this is pure janky," or
yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. It does seem to be the fact it's specific Xbox. Try to think of their whole shtick just now. It could be linked to that. That's what
Gary, you've got. Sorry, Paolo. You got anything else on that?
Well, I was just going to say, do we know if Assassin's Creed Valhalla is smart delivery?
As far as I'm aware, every launch title on the Xbox Series X will also have the smart delivery system. I'm sure that's what he said.
Okay. Sorry, I cut you off there. You were going down a route there.
No, I was going to get Gary. Gary's got some more talking points on Valhalla. So Gary, you've been delving a bit deeper, haven't you?
Yeah, just in my digging. In my digging, they have said that Valhalla is going to be shorter and smaller after the criticisms that Odyssey had, which I know Paul, Colin, you spoke about. You found it really hard to get into, and I've just got it. I delivered the other day actually, and I'm going to start it soon properly and see what you were saying. Hopefully it's not like too big, but it does seem a lot of people have said it's just mammoth. So like the fact they're bringing it a bit smaller, hopefully they're going to bring it back in line with like the Ezio games. Ezio. They were all quite compact and you've seen a lot of different locations, but it never felt overwhelmingly huge, like ride your horse across the world. So I thought that was quite interesting. They seem to be listening. Well, they seem to be listening on one hand and then not listening on another, because they're already talking about their season pass. And I'm just like, how can you... I just don't get this business model of, here's a game and pay £33 on launch so you can get stuff delivered down the line. And it's going to be based on the legend of Beowulf, which again is all mythological creatures. And this brings me back to the argument I had last time about it should be a new IP, because they're desperate, clearly, to do mythological stuff, and they'll try to ram it in, and it's just taking the story weird. But so we've got a season pass in the works already, and the final piece of information I found out, which is actually a plus, the romance options, again, they're going to be LGBT friendly, so you can have any kind of relationship you want. And I thought that's really nice, because you get to choose your representation in the game, so that's another plus. So they're very weird, Ubisoft, and we're listening, but we're going to do something else. We're not listening, and we're going to listen to that, but we're going to... I'd hate to sit in a board meeting with you guys because you just know I don't even know what to do. I'd be like, I don't know what's happening.
Well, I mean, it makes you wonder if they've got 8 different studios working on the game. You wonder how many folk are on their board, you know?
That's the thing.
Yeah, the romance thing, that's a thing. There is LGBT representation in Odyssey as well, so that's something they've been going for a while. You know me, I like big games. I love big games. I love losing. The Witcher 3 is one of my favourite games. I think it's my game of the decade. I love massive worlds. I really, really liked Assassin's Creed Origins. Odyssey just overwhelmed me. And I don't know if there was a little bit of wrong time and wrong place. I had just not long finished Red Dead Redemption, and I probably needed a bit of a palate cleanser, and I went straight into Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Big world.
But it's too big. I really do think it's too big. I think it's too big. And so I'm heartened by the fact that it's going to be a bit more of a smaller. It will still be huge. It will still be huge, but it does sound like it's going to be a slightly more focused. And I think that's all for the best, you know.
Yeah.
Right. So there's been an absolute slew of news. So let's get fired into this. First of all, remakes and remasters galore. On IGN, Jonathan Dornbush has been writing about the fact that Tony Hawk's Pro Skaters 1 and 2 are back. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is back as Activision has announced Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, a compilation remake of the first 2 THPS games developed by Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy's studio Vicarious Visions. Oh God, that's a mouthful. Which has a long history with the series. Games 1 and 2 will be released on PS4, Xbox One, and PC via the Epic's Game Store on September the 4th, 2020, with pre-orders offering fans early access to a demo of the iconic warehouse level. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 will introduce some new moves, not featured in original games like reverts, but Vicarious, is that right?
Yep.
Vicarious Visions hope the muscle memory of the originals kick in while playing, and that will be in part because VV have employed the original handling code from THPS devs Neversoft. The game will support competitive online play, but the remake will also feature split-screen multiplayer. Yes, for those who want to play with friends locally. And the online functionality will extend to the return to the Creator Park and Creator Skater modes. People will be able to share their creations online, and VV is hoping to give players a wide array of options to build their own dream skate parks.
Ooh.
I'm excited by this. I love that game.
I sent you a link saying you're getting the pre-order with the skateboard and all that, aren't you?
Absolutely. I can't wait to break all those bones I used to break skateboarding. I knocked myself out skateboarding once. I did.
Of course you did. I didn't even think that story's not believable.
I was an absolute terrible skateboarder.
You kind of knock yourself out quite a lot, Colin, now I think about it.
I've broken quite a lot of bones. I'm excited about this. I really hope that they're going to have they can't do this without the music. That must be a tricky thing, getting all those licenses again. But I can't help but think there's a lot of bands who were very popular back then who are probably jumping for joy at the fact they're about to get a whole lot of money.
We windfall.
Anyone else got fond memories of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater?
I didn't play it at all. I wasn't a console player back then, so this is complete unknown to me. I know of the games and I know how revered they are, but no, it would be all new to me.
What about you, Gary? Dressed like you are, surely you played that.
I think I had the demo disc with the warehouse level on it. I don't think I had the whole game, but I think that After School Care had the game, which I used to go to after primary school with my mum was still at work. So I remember playing it. I remember being awful at it. But I do remember playing it and having a good laugh with it. It would be interesting to go back and see if, as in, older person, I would know how to actually play the game, because I'm pretty sure I just kept falling off my skateboard and doing those little flips in the air. I was like, oh, there's some points. But no, I think it'll be good.
It was a lot of fun. It had lots of sort of like hidden things in it as well. You know, you could do. There was an Area 51 level where you could. You sort of, there was something you did. I can't quite remember, and you would sort of end up going through the back into a sort of hidden area, and you'd find the autopsy trolley and the alien's body lying on it, and the spaceship and all that sort of stuff. It was probably bonkers. One of my favourite levels was a school. I can't remember if it was.
I remember a school.
One or two, but the idea of skating around your school and sliding down banisters and smashing through windows and stuff is just so cool, when I was a nerdy teenager with my cap on back to the front and Blink 182 blaring.
Were you a cool kid? Were you a cool kid at school, Colin?
I think with that description, Paul, you know fine well I definitely was not a cool kid at school.
What about you, Gary? Were you a popular kid?
I wasn't until 5th and 6th year, and then I was a mean girl.
You were.
Yeah, I was a bit of a late bloomer as well, I suppose. I became a bit more popular as I went on, and now I host a video games podcast, so yeah. How cool is that?
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I can't wait to try it. I think it'll be really good to stream. I think it'll be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to the nostalgia of it all.
Yeah.
It's a really iconic game, and it's a funny one because you wouldn't necessarily think that lots of people would play. You know, lots of people are necessarily into skateboarding. Was this sort of like underground sport for a long time, and then it had this explosion when like the Deftones had Back to School and they're playing on MTV all the time, and you know, Blink 182 and Green Day were everywhere. You know, and it became a thing for a while, and it became a thing. Everybody was skateboarding. And it really kind of struck a chord at that moment. It was such a cool game, but what made it stick around, because there were hundreds of skate games at the time, and there was loads of BMX games, but what really kept Tony Hawk going was because it was really fun. It really worked. And actually, I mean, Gary's talking about falling off the board and all that sort of stuff, because when you're trying to do the really difficult tricks, it did get a bit, but it was quite an intuitive control system, relatively speaking. And yeah, it was just so much fun. I just kind of whacking in lots and lots of you know, tricks together and just rattling around, and you could lose hours and hours playing it. I see Brother Jacob in the chat. Blink 182, Sum 41, and Green Day. Those were the days. Those were the days.
I can just picture teenage Colin down the Go Man Royal Exchange Square, annoying people with skateboards, grinding down the steps.
I think you'll find I live too far away from Glasgow. I wasn't going to skateboard to Glasgow. If I tried to skateboard to Glasgow, I'd knock myself out like 3 times in the way.
Colin, no more.
Talking about nostalgia and remakes, this one comes from Polygon. This is Austin Gosling, and this is the Mafia series. One of the most underrated modern gaming franchises is getting a new release with a complete trilogy. 2K Games and Hangar 13 revealed on Wednesday. The announcement came with a very short teaser that flashes between characters from all 3 games, but doesn't show much else. The trailer confirms Mafia Trilogy for PS4, Windows PC, via Steam and Epic Game Store, and Xbox One. Each Mafia game came out for a completely different console generation, that's right, which means that the first time they'll all be playable on the same system, excluding PC. This brief teaser trailer doesn't really say much about the Mafia Trilogy, or when it will be released, but it does say that more news and a bigger announcement is on the way on May the 19th at 9 a.m. Pacific time and 12 p.m. Eastern. So there also seems to have been a few screenshots leaked as well, or out there, and I must say it looks glorious. These are shots from the original game, Mafia and Mafia 2, I believe, and my goodness, it looks pretty. It looks amazing. I am so excited about this. What about you guys? Did you play much of Mafia?
No, I'd heard of it, but back when they came out, it was the type of game I wasn't really interested in, so I just kind of skirted around it. And I remember Mafia 3 coming out, and still not being that interested.
Okay.
No,
Glad I asked you. Glad I asked you, Gary.
I didn't play it at all. I've not played any of them. I toyed with starting Mafia 3 when it was a PS Plus game, just because of the great write-ups it was getting. But I never ever did. And do you know, I tell a lie now, actually. It's just dawned on me that I think I played Mafia, the first one, on PC. I played a wee bit of that.
Now,
but I think I just wanted it to be Grand Theft Auto.
So, yeah. This is also not to be confused with the Godfather game, which also came out about a similar time and was it's quite easy to sort of confuse. Mafia and Mafia 2 are brilliant games, really good games, and actually somewhat underrated. Well, very underrated, but I don't think enough people played them. And the idea of them getting a proper remaster. I mean, that's not just we're not going down the Jedi Outcast route again. This has been built from the ground up, and my goodness, it does look good. I am really excited about it. So yeah, it's kind of nice just seeing all these games, and hopefully they'll be introduced to new generations as well. Yeah, quite excited about it. Mafia 3, funnily enough, is actually the weakest of the lot for my money. I kind of enjoyed it to an extent. I have my problems with it. I don't think it's anywhere near as clever as it thinks it is. But I did enjoy enough of it. The Mafia games were one of the first ones to properly have the turf war side of things. They sort of introduced that in Grand Theft Autos and various other games after that. But Mafia was one of the first ones where you would end up opening up a protection racket at a place, and you'd have to go and rough folk up to keep them in line and all that sort of stuff, and you would take over the city as it moved. Yeah, I think it's going to be great. I can't wait to see it. And those I can't wait to see on the 19th. I want to see what's all to be seen.
Oh,
exciting
indeed.
Anything else? Anything else before we get our?
No.
Nah.
Good. That's great. Well, we're going to move on. To our main event. Our special guest. We've got an interview.
I tried to do like a boxing main event thing there, but I could not think of the tune.
Well, you nailed it, Paolo.
It came out as like in a Roman fanfare.
Nailed it.
So good.
So, yes, we've got an interview with Amy Conway. So, when computer games and mental health are mentioned together, the focus is often on the negative impact that a gaming addiction can have on mental health. Amy Conway's Super Awesome World offers a different perspective. It's a show about how the kinds of challenges set by computer games can help you navigate depression. In the second week of the Scottish Mental Health Festival's online programme, the show is available to stream online for free on the festival's website. And earlier on yesterday, I caught up with Amy to discuss the brilliant show and find out a little bit about Amy's gaming history. I am joined by Amy Conway, creator and performer of Amy Conway's Super Awesome World. Hello, Amy. Welcome to the mailroom. How are you doing?
How are you doing?
I'm all right. Thank you. How's social distancing? How's pandemic life treating you at the moment?
Well, I love people and I really love my social interactions. So it's pretty hard. Yeah. I don't like it.
So you're not one of these people who's like fully adapted and found the whole Zoom, the whole Discord, the whole video chat world is a better place?
Is there anyone that thinks that video chat world is a better place? Please, can I meet them?
Well, it limits my actual face-to-face contact with Paul and Gary. So I mean, I've got a foot in that camp. But
if you are actively avoiding people, then I can see how that could be a benefit.
It would be helpful. But yes, it does come with its challenges as well. So we wanted to talk to you about your show, Amy Conway's Super Awesome World, which is streaming at the moment as part of the Scottish Mental Health Festival. It's streaming until the 18th, which is Monday, I think. I saw the show. I watched the show. I'd been really looking forward to seeing this show when I saw it was going to be streaming live, because I missed it. I missed it when it went out. And it was always one that I regretted missing. So I was desperate to see it. I watched it. It lived right up to my expectations. I thought it was an absolutely brilliant show. But for people that haven't seen the show yet, why don't you tell us a little bit about the show?
Okay, so I wanted to make a fun show about depression. That's kind of like the starting point. Like they say write what you know, and I had been through a period of depression in my life. I wanted to find a way of talking about it and sharing it, and maybe helping other people feel less alone with it, but in an engaging way that didn't feel like, oh God, a show about depression. No thanks. And that's a real, I think a lot of people struggle with that. What else inspired me was a TED Talk that I found from a games designer called Jane McGonigal. Mm-hmm. She's American, and she does a lot of promotion and research into how games are good for you. Good for your, not just for your brain function, but for your mental health overall. And this one TED Talk, she's got a personal story about it as well. This one TED Talk was, she tells you how she invented a game in order to get better. She was had a chronic illness, like she had a concussion that meant she was like chronically in pain and debilitated by it, and it was like making her suicidal. And she was like, I could either lay down and die, or I could make a game into getting better. That's what I do best. And she like broke down the day into like levels and tasks, and like there were different ways to like level up, and she identified parts of her character as being like bosses that she needed to defeat, like the inner critic and stuff like that. And I thought that was so clever, and I wondered whether there was a way I could do a similar thing but for the stage. Mm-hmm. And so this show is a result of it. Super Awesome World. It is a theatre show, and I've made it interactive in the theatre show. So that is the downside of having it online, is that you didn't get to join in with the games. The audience are invited to like join me and to actually play some small mini games which like connect with the narrative, the overarching story of fighting depression that I'm telling the audience.
Well, do you know, it's funny that, because I did see there was a little interview with yourself on the page, and you addressed that sort of concern that maybe there was maybe going to be something a little bit lost from the show because it didn't have that interactive side of things. But I have to say, the very first challenge that you assigned the audience, me and my wife did it while watching. So we just straight away went in. And although the later challenges require bigger numbers, which obviously in a socially distanced world is a bit of a problem, we still found ourselves rooting along with the audience and with yourself. So yeah, I suppose all theatre that's having to move online at the moment loses a little bit of that magic that theatre's so important, or that is so important to theatre and is so unique to theatre, I think, or live performance. But yeah, there's still a lot of magic there, so I wouldn't worry too much about that.
Okay.
I don't want to tell the very specific challenges on here. I don't want to spoil. I want.
You're doing a good job of not spoiling. Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was very good, and I find myself here sort of like grinning at the camera and then going, oh, maybe I shouldn't be grinning and smiling and nodding along as we talk about things like depression and things like that. But the fact that you even said that line about wanting to make a fun show about depression, that in itself sounds like a sort of oxymoron, but I think you've achieved that. I think you have achieved that. It feels, it's fun. It's certainly not making light of the subject, and there certainly are difficult moments, absolutely, in the piece, but I think you earn that, and I think it's yeah, I think tonally it really does hit the mark. So I thought it was really, really quite something. So well done, you.
Thank you. It's really lovely to hear your feedback. It really is. I've been doing this for a while, but honestly, every time somebody says like I connected with it, it really gives you such a sense of validation because it's like so personal. It's obviously it's the most personal thing I've done, and it means the most to me. It's the thing I'm proudest of.
Good.
In my career so far.
I think you should be. I think it is a wonderful piece. It really is. And it's so nice as well. I've got a whole load of questions here, but I'm already going off piece, as it were. But I think it's so nice as well to see a piece talking about the sort of art form of games or the thing that surrounds video games and doesn't focus on the bad and points it in a good light. And it's not about, Grand Theft Auto makes kids go and shoot one another or inspires folk to batter one another in the street. It's not that. Games can be a force for good. There are, and I think the show has a very nice point of putting that. And of course, it's a personal point from yourself. This isn't something you've made up. This is genuinely your sort of perspective on it. Yeah,
and I genuinely do not think that games are the problem. That when people talk about video games as being like this destructive force for people's mental health, I think it's the video game addiction can be a symptom of something that's going on internally, but it's not the problem itself.
No, and there's sort of benefits and there's sort of drawbacks or problems with lots of things throughout the world, but a lot of these things they aren't the problem themselves. These sometimes can become a bit of the problem, but as you said, there is a problem often there which is exacerbated by various walks of life, and it's so nice to hear a positive story about games as well, because it feels that the game industry in a lot of ways, and sometimes it deserves it, don't get me wrong, sometimes it absolutely deserves it, games or game culture, but I feel it's quite an easy target sometimes in the news, especially if somebody's looking to score some votes with certain demographics or whatever, they'll quite easily, video games can become quite an easy target.
Yeah, but don't you think that it's less of a subculture than it was?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you think of the way things have moved sort of periodically from when we were kids to right the way through, you would maybe have the odd time. I think the moment I remembered was when the Nintendo Wii came out and people's grannies were playing the Wii.
Intergenerational gaming, was born.
Yeah, and now you get things like even if it's things like heads up on phones and stuff like that, or even now with apps like House Party and Zoom, people are playing interactive games, and that is a form of gaming at the moment as well. And it's nice to see that technology is moving. But we got in at the entry level. We got in well, maybe not quite. Paolo did. He's a bit older. So. I wanted to talk a little bit about the show. Features some incredible video games art. It's got music, it's got sound effects that really capture the feeling of 80s and 90s gaming. So what was it like for you to see your show as a video game?
Well, I should first say that I need to credit Rob Jones, who is the director of the show and helped me create the show and shape my story into this game. Mm-hmm. But he's also the video and sound designer, so that's all him. And he is he has this massive passion for games. Wow. And that's reflected, I think, in the design of the show. And we wanted it to feel very much in a place and time. So there's an old TV on stage. Probably like the way we find them, we've gone through quite a few tellies, but like there's always one available on Free Cycle. People are always got one sitting in their back spare room, and just like, why have I still got this? I was like, give it to us. We can bring it to life. And it's so nice seeing those those 8-bit pixels on that screen again, and finding the old a Nintendo Entertainment System console. And then what Rob did is he took like elements, he kind of chopped up elements of different games and made a kind of collage for some of the there's some scapes that we show on the screen of different worlds, or to suggest different worlds, like an ocean world or like a volcano world with the lava. But then there's he's also created a sprite, or like, you know, some kind of Navi, and that's my voice that is manipulated.
Yes.
And it's so strange because I just remember every single voice that you hear in the show is mine, and I'm just basically having a very long conversation with myself.
A vocal chameleon. Oh,
I wouldn't say that, but yeah, the design on the voice is really clever, and there's points in the show where he slightly changes the quality of that Navi's like squeaky, hello, I'm here to help voice to show that it is mine actually, and that it's a part of my subconscious that is trying to help me.
Yeah, you do certainly notice the transition, because I did wonder at first early in the show who's doing that voice, and then as it started to become a bit ever so slightly clearer, it's still a distinct different character, but I could feel a little bit of your voice coming through, and clearly by design. I just thought it was fantastic, and I think Rob's done an amazing job in the design of it, the look of it, the feel, the nostalgia of those things. The stream is great because it not only is it's not just a fixed camera in the room and you're sort of seeing things in the background. These things are coming to the thing, so you are seeing this stuff properly in full pixel. It looks really lovely. It's really nicely edited together. But I did find myself just loving watching the old CRT telly and seeing the flicker and all that sort of stuff as well, which still has that feel, even though, as was said, we're watching a recording of a live piece from a couple of years ago. But I thought it was fabulous. The feel, the sound effects, the sort of opening montage to the game, the sort of loading screens and all that sort of stuff were it just transported myself back to a golden age of video gaming. Great job, and it must have been such a thrill to see it all come together.
Obviously, it gives me a massive rush when you kind of feel like you're playing in a game of your own life. It massages my ego, obviously.
Of course not.
I mean, why would I make a one-woman show if I didn't? All actors are egotistical, as we know.
Yeah, well, of course, I don't know who you're talking about. Yeah.
And actually, the best bit was when you add the audience. So in rehearsal, it's quite hard because I'd created these interactive elements, and we were hoping they would work, and then there's potential for games to go wrong because they're not completely foolproof. We did a bit of contingency planning for what would happen if they didn't score high enough in this game, but generally they're sort of like they've been tested enough to know that they will 90% work most of the time. And having a full audience like chucking balls at you or balloons at you and running in amongst them, clambering over them to like bop them on the head.
I thought you were very brave. It was like the Alamo with all those balls flying. It was pretty intense.
I was so terrible at catching them.
If anyone hasn't seen the show at the moment, then they're going to be rather confused, but you have to go and watch the show, and then you'll know all, and it'll all make lots of sense. But yeah, no, it was great. It was absolutely fantastic. It was funny though because you're trying to not to watch it through the prism of social distancing at the moment, and you're sitting there going, "Oh man, when are we going to be able to do this again?"
Yeah.
But no, I thought it was fabulous. So the show is obviously an extremely personal one for yourself. It deals with some dark moments from your life, but yet it still captures some wonderful moments of nostalgia, joy, and optimism too. Was that a difficult balance to strike?
Yes, of course. I think it was, because if the show had too much emphasis on fun, then I wouldn't be fully doing justice to the experience of depression and to trying to explain what being mentally ill is like. Which is why I intended to start the show. But if there was too much emphasis on the heavy and on the darker sides of things, then you want people to be entertained, and I think it's what you said a little bit earlier about earning it. I think you have to earn it, and I think the way we approached that was trying not to worry too much about it, but by using the structure of games.
Yeah.
So in the sense that loads of games that you will have played, especially like open world games, you'll have like a section that's quite kind of lighthearted, and maybe your task is to plant some vegetables and then make a soup, and then that soup will give you energy, but then like when you meet the boss, it's dark and it's hard and you might have to go at it quite a few times before you master it. There's light and shade, and it's balanced and structured throughout, and it's also the story of the hero. There needs to be a decent enough final battle to feel like your success is earned and that you've really faced something.
Yeah, and I certainly feel that. And it also felt as it went on, some of the challenges seemed much like in video games. You know that way where you get a challenge every so often in a video game and you're not actually meant to win. You're not meant to win. You're meant to be defeated at this point, or it feels like the odds are stacked against you. And it certainly feels that there are points, and I'm assuming that was possibly what you were trying to point out about mental health, is that there are some little battles that you don't always win, but that's okay. And I just thought it was really lovely. It's been I watched it yesterday. I've been thinking about it constantly since, and I think it's I think the structure, and it did kind of catch me, and I had little moments where I was sort of laughing at little moments, little reactions, little results, and that sort of dark laughter at times as well, where you're like, I can't believe how fate has happened here, or how things end up almost, and then there's just these moments of real joy, all the stuff with the glorious NES, and then
you're a fan, I can tell.
I am, yes, and then these other moments where it feels desperate, it feels sad, it feels really heartfelt, and I just thought it was a really, really lovely piece. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so although the show was filmed a couple of years ago, it perhaps actually feels, and I touched on this earlier, it perhaps feels a wee bit even more current right now, in the sort of face of lockdown and furlough and various other things. How important do you think the video games or board games or just gaming in general are to us right now?
Yeah. Well, the short answer is incredibly important. I mean, everyone's having a hard time. Like, that's the weird thing about now, is that someone will be struggling in one way or another. And the hardest thing about being apart from things, maybe not knowing what to do with yourself, and finding ways to be productive, I certainly hope that people don't feel guilty about gaming right now, because if ever there was a time to turn to it, now is that time.
Absolutely.
It's it doesn't, I mean, achieve anything in terms of like your life going forward, but life is paused right now, and losing ourselves in a world where those things don't matter when there's not a global pandemic. Maybe there are different like things and challenges, but they're kind of inconsequential. A world without consequences is a wonderful thing. So I have been like completely throwing myself into Mario Odyssey on the Switch, and I'm having a lovely, lovely time, and that's my happy place. But yeah, obviously, I think it's a way to connect to each other, and people are doing that. I've had what have I had? I've had Zoom Boggle.
Zoom Boggle sounds good.
I've done Mario Kart.
Oh, of course.
With quite a few pals, yeah. I've done Zoom Codenames. That's another. It's Codenames is great. That's a board game. But it's quite a good one to play over Zoom, because you don't have to like move too many things, and everyone's looking at the same. Doesn't matter if everyone's looking at the same board.
Oh, excellent.
And as much as I like have Zoom fatigue, what I like about that, the fact that you have a social interaction and you play a game together, is that you don't have to worry about making small talk and having like news to share, because everybody's news is pretty similar at the moment. And it's a way of connecting and disengaging from everything else.
And folk just want to play the game. That's what they really want. They just want to play the game. Yeah. Great. So one of my favourite moments I did mention very early in the show is the loving tribute to the legend that is the Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES, which was my first games console that my mum and dad had bought for me, and I was kind of blown away. But it was bought for me, and I've got the Christmas. There's a video of me getting it, and it was my present to open, but it sort of became the family's machine, right? It sort of sat in this communal room. But I absolutely loved it, and it's clear that you loved your NES. You talk about it a lot in the show. I'll encourage folk to watch the show. But I was just wondering what other consoles you have memories of.
So I'm definitely a Nintendo girl.
Good.
And that's partly because, you know, as a kid, it's what your parents buy for you. You just kind of have to be grateful for whatever you get. But I did fall in love with the Nintendo Entertainment System, and it, like in your case, it became my dad's as well as mine. My sister played a little bit as well, but she was a bit younger. But I'd say that we both complete games sort of around the same time. And it was when the 64 came out. That I feel like, because I was a bit too young to really appreciate what the Nintendo Entertainment System was, and the world, and how it fit into the history of gaming. But the 64, with the like jump up in graphics and just so I played Mario 64. That was the first game I played, and the opening up of that world was like incredible. And me and my dad just basically like watched each other play. So when someone wasn't playing, the other person was watching, and we were trying to get to the next level together. And that was many happy memories from that.
Jumping through the paintings is still one of the greatest things in video games.
I mean, the imagination. Especially as a young person. I mean, like every child's dream is to be able to jump through a painting into a new world. It's kind of Mary Poppins-esque, isn't it?
It is Mary Poppins-esque, absolutely. And of course it was. I had the Nintendo 64. I loved it. It was the most powerful games console in the world at one point. And absolutely loved it. The N64. That's a good choice. I did know you were a Nintendo girl. You did say that. It was clear we were discussing when you were going to come on to the podcast. You said that you were playing Mario Odyssey, so you're playing some Switch now as well. You enjoying that?
Yes, I have been gifted my dad's Switch, so it's not actually mine. But he finished playing Zelda Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey, and he was all like, I need, you can, it's sort of like a loan. But I don't know whether I ever have to give it back.
Well, if this lockdown continues, you might never have to. You'll be fine.
Essentially, he was like, I need some space from this because I've put too many hours into it, and with summer coming up, he was all like, you have it. But it was just the right time. I couldn't have asked for a better gift during lockdown. And whilst I have started Zelda, like I've focused more on Mario because it's the right kind of like light level playing. Like I love the whimsy of Mario.
Yeah.
Of just and all the little sorry, what's the word? Gesticulations that he has, and the exclamations of like, "Oh, it's me, Mario!" And then he's got all these different outfits, and he's running around like in Candy World, and the animation is stunning and so imaginative, and I like that it's not too hard.
Well, do you know, but I think Mario, I've not played a lot of Mario Odyssey, I played a little tiny bit of it, but I think Mario's always been very good at having that sort of variance in gameplay where, it's fairly easy to pick up and play, but it's very hard to master. And it's got that, especially if you're trying to collect all the coins or stars or whatever it is. I'm not sure, can't remember what it is in Mario Odyssey. Moon, yes. Then that's going to take a while. There's also various hidden parts. I saw a wonderful thing of somebody who was using the cap and climbing up one of the big buildings in the city, and there's like a million coins up the top of one of the roofs. It's just got these magical little moments. I think nobody really quite does it like Nintendo.
Oh, the detail is stunning. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Okay, so this was an interesting one I wanted to ask you. You don't have to think too deeply on this, but I was wondering any play from the world, all the various plays that have ever been written, which play do you think would make a good video game?
Wow. Well, I think that's it's a wide question, but actually, one that springs to mind is did you see The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime?
I am aware of it. I did not see it. I'm terrible for actually seeing shows.
It started out as a book, and it's a book about I think he's a teenager. Yeah, he's about 15. A boy with autism.
Yeah.
And it was a smash hit book, but they made it into a theatre show. Was it like Frantic Assembly and National Theatre? Anyway, like it toured like all over the place.
Yeah, I think it was the Old Vic maybe. I do know that they toured it. Yeah, it's been touring for quite a while. Yeah.
Yeah, and it has all these amazing like interaction with graphics on the stage, like the projections. Because of the reason why I chose that one because people on the spectrum, the way they process things, that the book is a lot about how an autistic brain would work differently, like someone from a neurotypical person, and that's what's so incredible about the whole story. But I think that would work fantastically as a game. People on the spectrum generally are fans of like the gaming because of the structure and because of the way that they can interact on a level that isn't too exposing.
Yep.
And I think and it would be such an amazing way to engage with that story.
Absolutely.
Possibly as like a choose your own adventure show.
That'd be quite cool, yeah.
Oh, I'd quite like to make one like that. I bet it'd be incredibly hard because you've got to think of all the different ways that that people the fact that you want to give people the idea that they do definitely have choice, but it's a limited choice. Otherwise, because your responses can then be infinite, and there's no way of like foreseeing what people will think. So you sort of like, have you? It's like, what's the Black Mirror one that was interactive?
Oh yes, the one. That's gonna kill me. People will be screaming in the chat. Bandersnatch. That is the one. Yes.
And you get a couple of choices, and you go down different avenues. I'd love to do that in a theatrical way on stage. Maybe it would have to be like for just a few people at a time, and it might be like a promenade thing where you go through into different rooms. So like a combination of an escape room and like a play.
Sounds cool.
But yeah,
do you know, that was a far more highbrow answer than I was expecting. You know, that was very good. That was very good. Certainly better than my idea of just having, I don't know, Waiting for Godot as a game. You just stand there. Just stand there. Just hours and hours and hours of gameplay just standing there. Okay, so we're going to move on. We've got some quick questions, but I've got one more before we're going to quick fire round to finish up. If you could challenge, and I think I might know the answer to this already, but if you could challenge the Nearly Men to one video game to play against us, what would it be, and would you win?
I'm going to choose Mario Party.
Oh.
Have you played it?
Well, which one are we talking? Are we talking the OG SNES one? Are we talking on the Switch now?
The Switch. I like the latest version.
I've not played it. I think Paolo possibly plays Mario Party on the Switch. And
it's
Gary maybe as well.
I played it originally on the Wii. And you go around the board and you play mini games at the end of like everybody's turn. But I'm awesome at the mini games.
Oh, okay. So I take it you're fairly confident you'd win then?
Yeah.
Oh, well, fair enough. Excellent. Right, we're going to go on a very final thing we're going to do is a little quick fire round. You're not getting a lot of choice. We're just going to ask you, it's an either or situation. You're going to have to pick. You're going to have to pick, right? Okay, so we'll start off nice and easy with Mario or Luigi?
Mario.
Okay. Mario or Link?
Link.
Oh, okay. Bowser or Ganon?
Bowser.
Good choice. NES or Switch?
NES.
Okay. Right, here we go. Controllers for hands or TVs for feet?
Controllers.
Controls for hands, very good. Okay, unlimited lives or unlimited ammo?
Oh. Unlimited lives.
Unlimited lives, there we go. That's that world without consequences you were talking about. And finally, and this is just one to annoy the fanboys in the chat, we know you're a Nintendo girl, but PlayStation or Xbox?
Well, I used to live with somebody that was a massive Xbox fan. So I played a bit of some of the Xbox games. So sorry PlayStation fans. Sorry.
That's it. Right, how do I stop this chat? How do I stop?
Was that the wrong decision?
It was. You'll have delighted half our fan base. There really wasn't a right decision either way.
It was so controversial.
The PlayStation fan base will be raging. The Xbox fan base will be absolutely delighted. So they'll count you amongst your number, and you won't be able to show up in the PlayStation side of town again.
Oh no.
So. There's nothing left to say. Amy, just thank you. It's been so much fun chatting with you. Thank you for joining us. And Amy Conway's Super Awesome World is available to stream until the 18th. That's Monday. So you've got some time to stream it. You absolutely should. And I'd just like to say, Amy, it's a fantastic show. It really is. I hope you're very proud of it. I think you should be. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you. And stay safe.
Stay safe.
Hopefully see you again in real life.
Yes, we will. We'll definitely. Maybe we can do this again at some point, and maybe we'll get this Mario Party challenge when we can all be in a room together again.
Yeah.
Amy Conway, thank you. Yep, and a huge thank you to Amy Conway for joining us for that wonderful interview, talking about her brilliant show. Now, obviously, we've been talking about some pretty difficult stuff in the chat, and of course, the play deals with that as well. The play was also made with the support of the Samaritans, who Amy herself is a volunteer for. So we just wanted to obviously give the contact details for the Samaritans as well, in case anything in the conversations that you've been having in the chat, stuff that Amy brought up there when myself and Amy were talking, or even just the way that lockdown's treating everybody just now. If anyone's struggling and needs a listening ear, then there's the contact details, and of course samaritans.org, where you can also find the relevant contact numbers for your area. Yeah, I mean, I really cannot recommend the show high enough. It is a difficult watch. There are some tough bits, and it will certainly stir feelings. But it's a wonderful piece, and Amy is so open, not only in the interview but also in the show, about her personal struggles and her battle through it. I thought it was really wonderful. It's available until Monday to stream for free, and what you can do on the Scottish Mental Health Festival website is you can also donate as a sort of pay what you can ticket via Eventbrite as well. So I went on and did that earlier on, made a little donation myself, and I think it's well worth doing, and a huge thank you to Amy for giving her time.
Well
and
done, sir.
Paolo, I think you've got a bit of fighting talk about our claim on Mario Party. You think you could give her a go on the Mario Party?
I could take her, yeah. See, the thing is that I have trained for Mario Party because my daughter is relentlessly playing it. So I batter it. I mean, there's one thing playing against adults, but playing against kids, you need to find different tactics and things, mate. So I've got no doubt that I would thrash her.
Right. Well, I did a competitive 24 hours against you, and I'm not so confident you'll thrash her.
Yeah, it's all wind. I don't know. I'd probably get beat.
Yeah, no, I just honestly, I really do implore people to check it out. The show was meant to be on. It was meant to be on this week for the Mental Health Festival, and obviously that, along with everything else, got postponed and cancelled and all sorts of stuff. So it's just it's great that they've made the video available, and they've done a really good job with the video as well. It's really edited in, so it's not so much as it's just one camera stuck up the back and you can hardly see what's going on. It's been really nicely edited, and real props to Rob Jones, the designer as well and director of the show. He's done a great job.
Nice.
Excellent.
Right, so we heard it straight there from Amy Conway. Gary, playing video games is good for you. It is good for you, and she talks about that in the show. It's good for you. So, with that in mind, Gary, why don't you tell us about all those free games, all those freebies that we've got that can help make us all feel better?
Absolutely. It is a pleasure. So, your freebies, starting with Games with Gold, the most complicated freebies in the universe. From the 16th of April to the 15th of May, which is tomorrow, you can get Knights of Pen and Paper Bundle RPG on the Xbox One.
So you essentially get 2.5 hours to go and get that.
Yes.
Quick.
Run as fast as you can. Hell of a game. And now for May. Oh gosh, right, here we go. From the 1st of May to the 31st of May, you have V-Rally 4, which is a driving game on Xbox One. From the 1st of May to the 15th of May, so again, another 2.5 hours, you can get Sensible World of Soccer, which is obviously football on Xbox One. The 16th of May.
So, Gary, could you say that a bit more camp?
No. You could try, but you need a hair flip. 16th of May to the 31st of May, Overlord 2, which is an action RPG. Do you know Overlord games are something I've always wanted to try, but just never got around to it? So they're meant to be very good, meant to be very fun, quite dark humour. And then from the 16th of May to the 15th of June, you have Warhammer 40k Inquisitor, which is an action RPG on Xbox One. But if you like the Warhammer 40k universe tabletop game, it's that. But
Colin's having flashbacks, I think. Just looking at him.
Well, that's not the one I didn't like. Deathwing was the one I didn't like. This one's a bit more like XCOM, I think, but it might be all right. Deathwing was not.
A glowing review there from Mr. Little. And that's your very confused Games with Gold.
Ooh.
Moving on to PlayStation Plus, keeping it simple. For the month of May, you can get City Skylines, which is a city building simulation game, and you can get Farming Simulator 19, which is another simulator game where you do farms. So yes, if you ever want to be a farmer and you're too lazy to go outside, go for it. And if you've ever wanted to build a city but are too lazy to become a construction worker, you can do that too. And
there we go.
This episode, we have an extra special freebie store. So on the PC, until the 21st of May, you can get Grand Theft Auto 5 for free on the Epic Store. Colin, would you like to tell us what happened to the Epic Store?
Well, it's interesting that at the time of recording, or just before we went on, the Epic Store had crashed under the weight of everybody trying to download GTA 5, a game that's nearly 10 years old or something like that.
Wait a minute. The game store crashed with everyone trying to get Grand Theft Auto. Who is left on the planet to get this game? Who doesn't have this
Newborn
game?
babies.
I feel I have to give a shout out to one of the funniest tweets I saw on Twitter today from Kirk McKeon, who is an editor for VG 24/7, and he basically talked about the fact that Rockstar had basically delivered a DDoS on the Epic Store. It basically just wiped them out for whatever reason. So a big day for Epic. Obviously, they showed off the fancy new engine, and their entire website went down not because of the tech demo, because of a game that's nearly 10 years old. And as you said, Paulo, everybody's got, but folk love a bargain.
Who's still to get this game?
It did come out a lot later on PC, I suppose, but even then, that's a bit of a stretch. But folk love a bargain, don't they?
They do.
I think it's one of the things. It's free. I'm going to take it.
I think that's probably got a lot to do with it.
Yeah. But that's just freebies for this month. Well, this month.
Woo.
So, I can see in the chat, Brother Jacob saying people buying it on PC so they can run with mods, which you can't do in console. That is a good point.
This is true. This is true.
And Brian says the Epic Store's not long come back online, so it seems to have recovered.
It's recovered.
Cool.
Speaking of games, we've been playing a lot of games. We have been playing a lot of games. Gary, what have you been playing?
So after the controversial chat last time, I decided to dust off my copy of Assassin's Creed Origins and boot that up to go back to ancient Egypt. And Colin was waiting for a refutal, an apology. What was the word I used?
Well, I was looking for vindication. Raymond Holt, vindication! That sort of thing. That's what I was looking for.
You went so loud there, you knocked yourself out.
I did. I just wipe everything out.
I don't think you're going to get it, because I stand by my point. It is technically, mechanically, a sound game. It is not a good Assassin's Creed game. And you can see
Gary.
I fought a giant snake with a holy bone arrow made out of an eagle. And I know that it was a dream sequence, but you can see they were so desperate to take this culture and make a really interesting gods-inspired world, and then they're just like, and sometimes you'll stab someone in the neck. See if they just made it the revenge story without all the assassin and the modern day fancy stuff. It would have been so good. And Odyssey, I know that you go fight a Gorgon. And I'm like, well, they didn't exist. Those weren't real.
Gary, I just can't believe you're the only person that wants Assassin's Creed to be more crap than it actually is.
No, because I said take out the modern day stuff, which you agreed with, and lots of people are in both camps. There's a bunch of people who are like, it's not a good Assassin's Creed game, but it's a great game. Like, I do have fun with it. The story's interesting. I love riding around my camel, who looks like a chocobo just now because I got the Final Fantasy 15 DLC stuff. Which is very short.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if I'm feeling this. And like, the story's good. I just don't need the Assassin's Creed part of it. And that's why I'm like, they just need a little bit of faith that people are going to buy a game based on the fact it's an interesting, good game, and they don't have to slap on an IP to get the numbers, because they really didn't need that. I mean, it's like I'm loving sniping things with my bow and arrow, and that fight against the snake after the heart and the soul was dead interesting. Just give me that game. And Kevin Bakerboy was saying the group that made Odyssey, the game they are now developing, is an ancient Greek mythological open world RPG game. So basically they're doing what Odyssey was without all the Assassin's Creed nonsense attached to it. So I'll stand by it. I think they're cracking games. I just don't think they're good Assassin's Creed games. They don't need to be good Assassin's Creed games.
I take your point. I think we know though that you know, if it's not Assassin's Creed, the game doesn't get made in the first place. Whether it feels tacked on or not, I think it needed to get given the green light, and there's just not that much faith, unfortunately, that they can. It does, but I think that's the whole
PS2
sort of triple A
era
landscape.
Because they made everything and anything, the weirdest things, and they were hits. I think the PS2 was in that stage where production values weren't too high, but things were looking good and graphics were decent, and I just wish they'd have a little bit more faith in their storytellers and that.
Even then, though, there was less competition. There was less consoles. There was less games out. Yeah. There was less things like Netflix and things like that to compete. You could be a little bit more take it or leave it back then than you can be now, because nowadays people will just pick something else up.
Yeah. Although I must say, I am on my 4th Dead Child storyline in Assassin's Creed Origins. I'm kind of like, I'm like,
it's a cheery one.
Let's keep the kids alive. Thank you very much.
Yeah. It's cheery.
Pretty grim. But apart from that, I've been delving into the world of The Walking Dead: Saints and Sinners in VR. Which has what I've been doing on stream on Friday night on my Nearly End slot, and on Survival Horror Sundays on my own channel, which has been hilariously terrifying.
It's been hilarious.
Full stop. And very sweary, Gary. Very sweary.
I've got such a potty mouth.
I had to put my phone down because I was just clipping every 10 seconds. I'm going to have to let it go.
Each clip's better than the last.
I mean, it inspired Gavin a laugh to go buy a VR kit.
Yes. He is
a nearly men guarantee.
It's probably the best VR game I've played. Next to Resident Evil 7.
Oh my!
In terms of immersion and the quality of controls, and everything works the way it should. Blood and Truth wasn't far off, but sometimes in Blood and Truth you're strapping for your gun and you're kind of
shooting yourself in the back. You try to put your machine gun behind you.
Can I just remind you that Gary Hogg-Simmons shot himself in the foot during the tutorial?
Because I pushed the wrong button.
Put the gun in his holster and fired it.
I did the very same thing in Blood and Truth. So
there we go. See, it's like every good American with a gun has shot himself in the foot, so we're just getting up to his mission.
I think you'll find in Blood and Truth, I'm a cockney geezer.
True.
Yeah.
But no, it's excellent. It's such a well-made game, and it's nice to see the fact it's been out for 2 years in PC. They've clearly worked in anything that was a bit wonky. So when it came to PS4, it's been smooth sailing. And it's
as long as that, 2 years, yeah.
2018 it came out in PC. I think near the end of 2018.
Right, even still, yeah.
But
it must have been some sort of blind spot to me, because I didn't even know the game existed. I never even heard of it. I don't know how I missed it.
It popped up on my radar for PS4 about 4 or 5 months ago, and then I forgot about it. And then I just went into the PlayStation Store on the Tuesday, and it was like pre-order for release on Thursday, and I was like, oh, what? And I went for it, and I've not regretted it. My new favourite thing is grabbing a zombie by the hair and slapping it when I don't have any items or any builds.
That was funny. You issuing a brutal zombie slap-a-thon did make me laugh.
It's amazing. I'm looking forward to going back in, and of course we have Diet Punk, who's one of the producers of the podcast.
Yeah, Mr. Producer.
He's the Oracle to my Batman, who does all the chat readouts, which is good because I can't see. But there was also a time where he left his room to do something, and I was doing the game, and he came back so quietly I didn't know, and he went, "Hi," and I almost died. I was like, "Oh!" I was like, "Do that less actively." But no, it's been great. I've also been mixing it up with some platforming. So on the big sale, I got Lego Avengers 2 and DC Villains, the Lego games, which are just little bundles of fun. Lego games are always good, and these two, Marvel and DC, they do them so well, so they're hilarious. And going back to Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 on my Switch, just played a bit of that, which again, I've got the whole Spider team, and you get bonus points for being all Spider web slingers. And it's just the story that's actually interesting as well. It's all about the Infinity Stone, Infinity Gauntlet. So yeah, quite a varied 2 weeks for me gaming wise.
Great.
Yeah, good on you.
What be yourself? I see you've been playing a whole mess of games.
I've been at the mercy of the son of a gun, Tom Nook, again.
This is getting very personal now, Paolo.
He's. Do you know? I've now paid. Well, I've not paid it off. I'm at the last stage of the house.
Ooh.
I'm at the last stage, so he's not going to give me any more expansions. I've got my attic. I'm upstairs. I've got my basement, and he's not going to give me another one. So I'm not. Once I pay this mortgage off, that's it. I'm free of him. But no, it's really. I've not done anything to my island. Well, I tell a lie now. I've now moved my house, and I've now got a staircase up to my house and things like that. So I've started to do things, but I think I need to sit for a good couple of hours and start to arrange some sort of system or layout to this island rather than just it being wild and rampant. But yeah, I'm a sucker for the turnips as well, which Gary Hogg-Simmons is as well. Yeah.
I'm just bamboozled every time you guys talk about this. So on the Nearly Men's Discord, there's a link in the chat. You can join the Discord community there, and we've got various channels. One of the channels is an Animal Crossing channel where there is the most lively discussion about the cost of turnips every day. And I'm like, I just can't fathom this. The prices of turnips.
It's nerve-wracking, man.
Don't sell them for less than 500, man. Don't go near it. Don't get it.
And don't buy them for over like 89 or something. The rule is.
Oh, is that right?
Sell them high.
I made a profit of 3.4 million last week, and I've sold one bunch this week, and I've made 1.9 million. And I've still got 2 other ones to go, so I'm looking at 6-7 million this week, and that'll see me right.
Unbelievable.
I need to remember not to spend all my money on doing up my island and save about. So you said stayed about 400k.
That was my first lot, was 400k. This week it was 600.
Do that and try and buy really cheap, and then go sell them for really high. But
the economy in this game is bonkers.
It felt like a drug cartel, like a Mexican drug cartel today, sitting in my wee airport waiting in the access code to this island. I was like, ooh. I was like, you're 11th in the queue. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get caught.
So to take this down a very weird tangent, but there's quite a famous picture of Germany in the sort of aftermath of the First World War, and sort of in the sort of run up to the Second World War, where Germany's economy had collapsed and they would just kept printing money. And there's a very famous picture of a woman carrying essentially a wheelbarrow full of money to the shops to essentially buy like a loaf of bread, and that's kind of how it seems to be in Animal Crossing. To equate those things in a rather crass way, I guess, but it just seems bonkers, the price of turnips.
Wheelbarrow full of it. It's a stock market. Stock market.
And it's funny because Paul, when I mentioned the stock market, was like, oh no, I don't like the sound of that. That's not what the game's about. And now look at him, a megalomaniac for 6 million bells from selling turnips.
A mad turnip baron.
Also, I streamed. When was it? It wasn't last week. The week before, I streamed Gears Tactics, which came onto Games Pass, just for something a bit different. Looking for something. Game Pass is brilliant because it lets you just jump in and kind of try different things. And this was good. It's a kind of. I'm told it compares to XCOM. I've never played XCOM, but it's very much XCOM.
It does look very XCOM.
And
I was scared about XCOM.
It's good. It's okay. Yeah, it's good. I mean, the problem is, I'm not getting myself invested in the Gears of War lore. You know what I mean? It doesn't really mean much to me, so it's not got that polish for me as it would someone else who's right into their Gears of War stuff. But I mean, it was a fun game. Past a couple hours. I don't feel the necessarily a big need to go back to it and continue it. It was fun to stream for a wee bit, but I don't know if I would play on, just because there's so many games to play. What else I've been streaming? I streamed Forza Horizon 4, yes, which has been great fun. I've done it a couple of times, and it's been a nice wee stream. Good chat with people, keep me company during that, and it's just nice to drive about and do different races and things. It's a stunning looking game. It is. I'm tempted to say it's the best looking game on the Xbox. It is absolutely beautiful.
It is gorgeous.
And it feels right. Everything feels right. This particular one we're watching just now, you're racing the Flying Scotsman, so it's got that kind of bonkers element to it as well.
That's so cool.
And it's really nice. I don't
think that road would pass any health and safety test.
Oh God no. And I'm not a big car person. I'm not a petrol head, as they say. So the detail of the cars doesn't get to me, but I just like playing the game. The game's fun to play, and there's loads to do, and it keeps wanting to bring you back to play more as well. So
I'm not a driving person, but watching you play the stream, I was kind of like, not bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I've said it on the stream, it's just the right balance for me between, how a proper feeling driving a car and arcadiness. It's just right on the line for me. Probably more erring on the side of arcade than it is a sim, but it's still got a challenge to it as well. Good game. I'll probably stream more of it, I think.
Absolutely, I'll definitely tune into that.
And then the Sunday Social. This week was the Golf Club 2019, where I just played a couple of rounds of golf. So it was a lovely Sunday morning for me.
It was nice and chilled, wasn't it?
Wasn't it? It was nice, really nice.
Yeah.
And it was great because managed to get a game with a couple of friends of the podcast. Dancing Toaster came on, he played, and James A42 was there as well.
How did that go, Jamesy? How did that go?
He did well. He played well. I mean, he doesn't play a lot of it. He's still new to it, and it is a brutal game. It is relentless with the swing.
I would be hoaching at it. I'd be so bad.
It's so satisfying when you get it right, but it's that way. It doesn't always go right, and that's fine for me. And they announced today the new game, the PGA Tour 2K21, is a new game. So that's coming out, and it's got proper golfers in it this time, and a lot more it's a bit more kind of Tiger Woodsy, as Tiger Woods was, and it's 2K that are doing it. And then on Monday nights is going to be a wee regular thing for me for a while, which is nice. I started the stream of The Last of Us Remastered.
Yes, you did.
I'm going to play through the whole game again. I played through it when the remaster came out, and I thought, in a wee run up to the part 2 coming out, it might be quite nice just to go through the whole game. So I think we'll manage it every Monday night, 8 PM on this channel. We're going to play through The Last of Us.
I'm just watching the footage you've picked from talking about The Last of Us.
You put it upside down, mate. That's upside down.
This is ridiculous.
I kind of scanned through my stream, and I didn't want to show anything that wasn't going to spoil it, and so I was a bit like, this is fine.
Yeah, I can do this many times.
Yeah, because you are playing on hard, aren't you, Phil?
I went for hard.
Yeah,
I hummed and hawed, but I went for hard. When Gary was on the stream and he was saying you can change it in it anyway, so
you're doing not bad, I must say.
Do you know, I'm happy with it as it is. It's challenging enough, but it's still moving along as well.
It's not a bad game in hard. It's no Arkham City.
No, it's certainly not. Certainly not. At least we talk about that a bit.
Yeah, so please watch me on Monday nights. Play The Last of Us. Yep. If you've played it, great. And if you've not, then be aware there will be spoilers for the game, but no spoilers for part 2 at all. Yeah, but great fun. Yeah. I think that's me.
Okay, well, I've been playing wee bits. I'm going to sort of rattle through some of the games I've been playing. We'll start off with I've been playing Hitman 2016. I did a wee bit of streaming on that. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's the episodic game for 2016. It was released in a number of different series, and it really does give you a lot of fun. It's been bonkers. It is incredibly difficult, but the sheer sort of scope of being able to change things, the kind of various different ways you can complete your missions, the sort of fun and brutal and silly ways you can kill people are hilarious. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. As you can see, this is in Thailand. This mission took place in a fancy hotel, and I had to kill a sort of real kind of douchebag rock star. And I managed to electrocute him with his fancy microphone, which was a really cool way to do it. That was a lot of fun. I also dusted off the PlayStation VR. We were talking about it not long ago about us all sort of saying that we kind of felt that our PSVRs had been a wee bit neglected of late. So I managed to get a wee bit of blood and truth. I picked it up. It was my birthday a couple of months ago, and it was on sale around the time of my birthday, and I thought, I'm just going to buy that. I'm going to get it. And never played it. I hadn't played it at all. So I got down to actually playing it, and do you know, it is brilliant. And do you know, this gives me some hope. I had a bit of a concern that although the PSVR is going to be compatible with PlayStation 5, I kind of thought, the display is going to be terrible and it's not going to work. Do you know, actually, the Blood and Truth is one of the best looking games in PSVR I've seen. It's got a little bit of fuzziness around the edges, but it doesn't have the really blurry fuzziness that we've seen in a lot of other games, which gives me much more hope for the display. And actually, I think the actual display itself will last a lot longer. And of course, once the PS5 turns up with a lot more guts under the bonnet, it will be able to. So I actually think that it's a little more future-proof than I was originally concerned about.
That's good. I dived in there a wee bit as well. I forgot to say. I jumped in and did a wee bit of Rec Room and another game. But
yes, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, so you're all right. Yes, it is nice to dust it off a wee bit. I played a little bit more of Final Fantasy VII, the remake, but we've kind of talked that to death. It's very good. It really is very good. The odd, very strange textures aside, it looks glorious. It plays really well. I'm really enjoying it. I wasn't sure how much I'd like it. I am really enjoying it. I'm sort of taking it in bits and pieces. It's not the kind of game that I could sit and play hundreds of hours off in one sitting. But I'm playing it in little chunks of maybe an hour or two at a time, and I'm just really liking it. I'm really liking it.
Nice.
And I also picked up the other day Arizona Sunshine. I was desperate for a VR zombie fix after watching Gary playing Saints and Sinners, and Arizona Sunshine was on deal. I think it's on deal for a little while longer on the PS Store. I think you can get it for under a tenner. I think it's until the 20th of May.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
You can get it, and it's 2 DLC for basically I think it's $9.89, then the DLC is like £2 or something. So the whole thing for about £11-ish. I've not played an awful lot of it. Me and Gavin Alaf had a shot of it on Horde mode. It's going to take a bit of getting used to. I'm not convinced my calibration was all quite right. Things weren't quite working exactly how I wanted to. But when it did work, it was excellent. I was really enjoying it. I think the shooting's a lot of fun. It seems to work really well. And actually, I did start to feel a wee bit nauseous as the game went on, as I did, because I'm a wee bit out of practice with the VR.
Yeah.
But I think it's a lot of fun, and we're definitely. I think you guys have picked it up too, so I think we're going to have to have some nearly meant. We might have to have a stream, a big co-op stream, maybe do some horde mode or something. Paolo, you've played a little bit this year.
Yeah, just the Horde mode as well. I've held off the campaign just because I thought we might want to play it together. Yeah, so just a wee Horde mode. I did exactly the same thing that I did in the Rift. When I played my brother's Rift, I played this. I thought that's quite nice, get a wee comparison. It's obviously not as sharp as a Rift, but it still feels great. The dual wielding's great. I love that, with the move controllers. Yeah,
it's a lot of fun. It really is a lot of fun. It looks a wee bit more madcap and a bit more silly than Saints and Sinners is. But yeah, a lot of fun.
Nice. Oh, exciting.
There's a few games. We're time's rattling on, so we won't go too far. But there's a few games we played together since the last episode. We did a couple of multiplayer streams. We played on May the 4th on Star Wars Day. We played Star Wars Battlefront 2. That was the first time we'd all had a shot at that for a wee while. Any
I think
quick
it was Gary's first
on
time completely, if I remember rightly. It was your first time ever?
I don't think Blonde Boy played it at all.
It was my first time and it was great. It was really smooth. It felt like I was in the film. I really enjoyed it. It was good fun.
It does look
brilliant,
glorious.
doesn't it? It's really nice. Still not any better at it. I'm still awful at it, but you know.
Yeah, a lot of fun. We had a great time. The chat was very funny that night. We had a lot of fun on that. Then on last Thursday, we played World War Z.
World War Z.
Which again, oh my goodness, that game's hard.
Oh, aye.
That game is hard.
Yeah,
we
it's
had
good fun. I've just realised the clip I've chose here is the clip that I fall.
Oh, wonderful!
Just looking at it,
mad hilarity. Where Paul made an absolute pig's ear off it, and
I love when the horde comes. I love it. It's really fun.
It's just intense.
Thousands of zombies.
Oh,
the sheer number of zombies that come flying at you, it's insane. Absolutely insane. And although they're relatively easy to kill individually, the sheer numbers of them makes it such a challenge. And you see how quick they move as well. I mean, oh my goodness.
That's me getting my head kicked in.
That's Paolo made a big mess of it all. Talking of making a mess of it all, I've been playing a lot. I know you guys have had a wee shot of it. I have become obsessed with Stranded Deep, and my stream on Saturday night was an absolute disaster. I got to 45 days, got a bit cocky, I had all sorts of plans of what I was going to do, and then I went for a wee swim in a shipwreck and forgot that you can't breathe underwater.
It was tragic.
Permadeath, and my save went.
It was tragic. I'm so glad I saw it live though. I think if I got a WhatsApp after it from you saying that, I'd have been gutted. I'm so glad I was there for that moment.
It was genuinely heartbreaking. Genuinely heartbreaking.
It's clipped. It's on your channel, isn't it? It is, yes. Colin_name. It's clipped. And my favourite part of the clip is when it happens is your wife's gasp.
She gasps, absolutely. Absolutely. Gasped.
It's glorious.
Yeah, it was absolutely horrific. I am streaming more and more of this game, so we're not going to go too far in it. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I know loads of folk have been watching the stream, have picked up the game as well, and it really does seem to have struck a chord with people. My same feelings are, it's a little bit rough around the edges. There's bits that aren't quite working. It is still crashing from time to time. But I just love it. I just absolutely love it. Gary, you've not played an awful lot of it, have you?
I think I'm still on day 3.
Day 3.
I just my camp's kind of set up. I've got a water thing which I didn't know how to work until I saw you do it. I've got a smoker, and I've got some other things. I've got lots of gyrocopter and aeroplane bits. But I've not kind of gone back to it because I think I'm poisoned.
No.
That's if you just never start it again, you'll live.
Yeah, I survived everything.
Certainly don't go for a big deep swim and forget to breathe.
No, I know how breathing works.
There'll be an awful lot more of that. Keep an eye on my Twitch channel, the Nearly Men channel. I will be streaming more and more of this game. I'm just loving it too much. Gary, why don't we hear what the listeners have been playing?
Yeah, very quickly. Christopher Patrick says he's been expanding my gaming over to include more than just FIFA. On the other main recommendations, the Golf Club 2019, Stranded Deep, L.A. Noire, and The Last of Us Remastered. So going for all the big games there.
Yeah.
Gavin Little says, well, where do I start? I've been loving Stranded Deep on day 35. Oh, careful. And I have everything under control and a way out. I'm keen to play more Predator Hunting Grounds at some point soon, but everything is going to be swept aside as soon as I get my PSVR. Big thanks from me, not my bank balance, to Gary Hogg in the Nearly Men stream that convinced me to bite the bullet and get one. I think we've bankrupt that boy in the past 2 days.
I think we might have.
Every game we've played, he's bought, and then he went and got VR as well.
And he's also a producer of the podcast, and he's subbed to my channel as well. We've cost him a literal fortune.
Mental.
That's what happens when you get a good job.
Ari Kama commented saying SnowRunner, it's awesome.
That seems to be quite popular with PC players, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Ari's streaming it as well. I know that. We played Firewall Zero Hour with Ari. He's from Finland, and he's been streaming a lot of it.
In fact, there's a clip on the Nearly Men channel of Ari like holding his own against 4 guys in Firewall.
while we're all dead.
Nearly Men standards. James Simpson, final playing Last of Us Remastered. I'm now at the point where I abandoned it in PS3, hoping to finish it before Part 2. Also playing Astral Chain and Doom 3 on the Switch. Stay safe, guys.
You too, Jamie.
And Jamesy42, first of all, congrats on getting the 100.
Hey.
And then he goes on to say, rather not talk about the Golf Club 2019 battering I took from Paul Kaczynski, but it was fun. playing Wolfenstein 2, which is pretty full on but enjoyable, and Warzone. So that's what the listeners and viewers,
excellent,
have been getting up to.
Thank you so much, everyone, for getting in touch. If you want to get in touch with us, here's how to do it.
We'd love to hear from you. Find us on Facebook as The Nearly Men, Twitter and Instagram, where we are at Nearly Men, or email info@thenearlymen.com.
And thank you very much. So, time's really marching on. We're going to get to the chat in just a moment or two. But Paolo, why don't you take us through the new releases?
Oh, I can do that. Let's have a look. 14th of May, we've got Arcade Archives Radical Radial on PS4 and Nintendo Switch, Bus Mechanic Simulator for PC, Iron Fury for PS4, Xbox One and Nintendo Switch, Colat for Nintendo Switch, Nimbatus, the Space Drone Constructor for PC, Mac and Linux, Oddworld, Munch's Odyssey for Nintendo Switch, Signs of the Sojourner PC, Star Horizon on the Switch, Tiny Metal, Full Metal Rumble on the Switch, and Xenogeon for PC. On the 15th of May, Cephas Protocol on PC, Shmup Collection on Nintendo Switch, Tabletop Playground for PC, Tales from Off-Peak City Volume 1 on PC and Mac, and then on 19th of May we're getting Dark Knights with Poe and Monroe on PC, Umurangi Generation for PC. I should have read these before I did it. 20th of May is Cannibal Cuisine for Nintendo Switch and PC. Total Tank Simulator for PC. On the 21st of May, we're getting Derail Valley on PC. Ember for PC. Monster Prom, Nintendo Switch. Space Haven for PC. Starina for PC. The Persistence for PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch and PC. Timelie for PC. 22nd of May is I, Dracula Genesis on PC, Maneater on PS4, Xbox One and PC, Monstrum for PS4, Xbox One and Nintendo Switch, and lastly 25th of May you're getting Rival Stars Horse Racing Desktop Edition for PC. That's your lot.
And then we've got a couple of extras as well, Paolo. We've got Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon, we've got The Almost Gone, and on the 26th of May, we've got Dungeons 3 Complete Edition coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
I forgot to turn the page.
Wow.
Mr. Kaczynski, half a job. Half a job. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Kaczynski. Yeah, loads of games coming out. Yeah, I'm quite interested by the Shmup collection. I do quite fancy the look of Maneater. That looks mental.
Yeah, I think that's top of the list on that for me.
Yeah, so Gary, do you want to give us a wee shout out? Let's hear what's been happening in the chat.
So I've gone through and picked some of the best bits. So in regards to Super Awesome World, as that was playing, the chat was kind of having a wee discussion, and Mishmael says all of this resonates so loud, and Sherry Bobbins 09 says she speaks so well about it, just about the issues she was speaking about in the interview that took place, and I totally agree. But then I don't have further chat, and they're talking about how arcade helps so many people and young people in the community. And then Bri2208 says, I miss getting to hang out with you all in person, and even when we never played games, just chatted and drank tea and coffee. And yeah, I think everyone's feeling that, especially it's been so long and it's just that face-to-face contact. But the fact we can do everything digitally, I think is helping a little bit for quite a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it is nice to know that there's such a strong community out there, and that will be there when the world goes back to the new normal.
Yep.
Daybreak 1591 says there's always a gaming console on board ships, as they consider it part of your rights, as it's a good thing to do during the downtime. Can be a very good thing to do together as a crew too, which I never did. That's very interesting. So thanks for sharing that information, Daybreak. Moving on, Diet Punk, in regards to Paul Kaczynski's Nearly Nugget Unlock, says in all capital letters, all ASMR all the time.
Jeez Louise.
And I think Diet Punk has enough money saved up. He might be able to make that happen. So sensational. Those who don't know,
that's horrible.
On our solo nights, each of us has a special Nearly Men nugget unlock for 3,000 nuggets. Colin Little, he does his coveted pirate voice, which is trademarked. I'm stealing it. I do the Hog roast, where I will insult you personally.
The best one.
to your face. And Mr. Pogzinski does a beautiful and intimidating ASMR, so you can make him say something in ASMR. It comes along with a serial killer look down the camera as well, which no one asked for, but you get it.
It's an added bonus.
You see how lucky his wife really is. So you can activate those on all nights, but Diet Punk, he's loving the ASMR. Nat Pacino, in regards to Jamesy,
Ms. Producer,
playing the golfing game, she says he said he absolutely loved it, but was glad his mic wasn't on. He turned the air blue.
I could almost hear him from where I was, to be honest.
And then we have one question tonight from Brother Jacob. He asks, do any of you lads play Overwatch? And if so, who is your favourite hero?
Nope, won't play it.
I don't, and Paul doesn't. Gary, you've tinkered with it.
Started playing Overwatch with Diet Punk, who's teaching me the ways of the watch. We did the kind of random heroes mode, and you just get to try out lots of different ones. So when you die, you respawn as someone new. So there's a few I liked in that. But the one, oh gosh, what's her name? This is, I'm not playing in a few weeks. She's a bad hero. She's like for the bad guys. And with one hand she takes life, and with she heals, and with one hand she does damage. So she's kind of like a healer and damager. So I quite like her because she does both. Moira, thank you, Diet Punk. I think you knew I'd forget. So yeah, that's who I've been focused on playing in Overwatch. But it's very fun. It's very friendly. It's competitive without being toxic, I think, because it's just a timer and you just respawn until someone achieves the objective or the time runs out. Cool. Which makes it fun. You're always engaged in it. But yeah, so that answers that question. But that's it. The chat's been bouncing tonight, and that's what goes with the highlights.
Well, thank you so much, and yeah, for everyone, it was actually quite difficult to keep up with the chat. So much going on, but it's wonderful to see everyone having a talk, and so lovely to hear people engaging with the interview with Amy as well.
Yeah.
That was brilliant. And a shout out to Mish Mallow, who was in the chat, who said it resonated so quickly. I'm currently drinking out of my arcade mug that we got from the arcade Kickstarter. It's a belter. I've been much enjoying that. So
all right. You
and I know you've got one as well now, Gary.
You kickstarted it
on camera.
You kickstarted it. You don't need that's advertising now. They should be paying you now.
That's fine. Listen, they're well down the thing. I've got Stranded Deep. They owe me a fortune. PSVR owe Gary a fortune. We're influencers now. That's what we do. Right, I tell you what, this has been a mammoth episode of the podcast. I can't believe we'll be going for 2 hours. It's like the old days, Paolo.
It's like the old days when we didn't care.
We didn't care. We just rambled because no one was listening. So, first of all, thank you everybody for watching and for listening and supporting the podcast. Your podcast this week has been brought to you by producers Colin NM, Paul Kaczynski, Jabrias, Josser 1978, Diet Punk, Nat Pacino, Gavin Alath, Blunderboy87, Brother Jacob, Bry2208, and brand new producer, Mrs. Producer, Sherry Bobbins 09. Mrs. Producer.
Mrs. Producer. Although she did subscribe halfway through the episode, so half of the episode has been produced by her.
Just this half, aye. Just this half. I'd like to say a massive, massive thank you to Amy Conway for coming on the show, talking to us about our brilliant show. I urge you all to go and check it out. Amy Conway's Super Awesome World. And remember, if at any point you're affected by any of the stuff that was talked about earlier on in the interview or in the show, check out the stmaritans.org. Yeah. The next episode of the podcast will be here live on Twitch at 8 p.m. on the 28th of May. Is that right? That's not right. It won't be the 28th of May. Oh, no, it will be. 28th of May. So be sure to check that. Seamless. We'll just edit that out, right?
Yeah. You can, nobody's watching anyway, so you're all right.
Edit that out. That's good.
Got away with that one.
I'd just like to say thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Blunderboy87. Thank you, Gary Hogg.
Oh, thank you for watching and listening.
And, of course, thank you, Mr. Paul Kaczynski.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody else. We will see you all soon. Gary's going to be streaming on this channel tomorrow at 7 p.m. He's going to be doing some more Walking Dead with Diet Punk. You can check out the rest of our channels. I'm Colin NM. Gary's Blunderboy87. Paul is Paul Kaczynski, all one word. And don't forget to hit the follow button for the Nearly Men Twitch channel as well. With that, I think all that's left to say is good night, everyone, and stay safe.